A former assistant dean of Brigham Young University's law school is speaking out tonight against the honor code clarification, calling the entire ordeal a, quote, dumpster fire. ABC4's Brittany Johnson joins us in studio with more tonight. Brittany.
Well, Allison Phillips Belknap attended and then worked at BYU. Once she came out as lesbian, she then left the school, but not before multiple suicide attempts. She's speaking out in hopes of reaching students and others who say they're in pain due to BYU's honor code clarification.
To some people, this looks like the perfect family.
I almost died. I had multiple suicide attempts and was in the hospital for 18 days after those suicide attempts.
But for Allison Phillips Belknap, it represents a false life, keeping her sexuality a secret for years.
I have known that I was gay from the time I was 12 years old, but what you learn in the church is that that's just not acceptable.
A former member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, former assistant dean, faculty member, and student at Brigham Young University, Belknap says she can relate with students who may feel at risk or marginalized over BYU's recent honor code clarification, stating same-sex romantic behavior is still not compatible with BYU's honor code.
To engender that kind of hope and then this feeling of, yeah, we can be acceptable, yes, we can belong somewhere, and then to just sort of rip that away or rip that out from underneath someone, it's cruel. I think it's violent. I think it's a horrific thing to do to somebody.
Belknap calls protest in response to BYU's honor code clarification a turning point in school history.
I think there's definitely a feeling of activism, and I think there's a feeling of we're not going to sit through this.
Her message to LGBTQ students and faculty: keep pushing.
Nobody wants you to live immersed in shame and feeling like you're worthless, and you can't reach your potential that way. So take the next step, even though it's scary, and find that authenticity and find the place where you can live that way and find your authentic self and reside in that sort of power.
If you are feeling thoughts of suicide, there's help. You want to call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Their number is 1-800-273-8255. That number is on your screen right now. And to hear more of Allison's story and about the second chapter of her life, go to our website, abc4.com. Emily, back to you.
All right, Brittany, thank you. Well, we reached out to BYU for a response to the interview, and through email we were told BYU is very open about the fact that all members of our campus community are expected to uphold the honor code, going on to say that full-time faculty have access to mental health care through their employee benefits.